I now hand the conference over to Mr. Apurva Shah from PhillipCapital. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Shah.
Yes, thank you, Margaret. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of PhillipCapital, we welcome all of you to the Q1 FY22 post-earning conference call for Onward Technologies Limited. From the management, we have Mr. Jigar Mehta, Managing Director, Mr. Vignesh Kumar, Executive Vice President and Head of Sales for USA and Europe, and Mr. Devanand Ramdasamy, Chief Financial Officer. So, Jigar, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to host the post-earning conference call for your company. So, without any further delay, I would request Mr. Jigar Mehta to start with his opening remarks. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Apurva. And thank you, everybody, for joining. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome you all for our earnings call today, which is hosted by PhillipCapital for the first quarter of financial year 2022. I hope you're all keeping well and safe. Very happy to share. I hope you guys all got a chance to see our Q1 numbers. I believe this is the best quarter probably in Onward history, and we are very excited to be here. Quick summary: we delivered overall revenue consolidated about 85 odd crores, a PAT of 9 crores plus, and an EPS of 6 for the quarter. Again, these are one of the best numbers in COVID times and over the last several years of investment that the company has been doing. Before I get into the earnings highlights, and which my CFO Dave will jump into, let me give you a quick background about Onward Technologies, or where we are today and what we are trying to do and how we believe we can win in this market. So we are a young engineering research ER&D services player. Today, 100% of our revenues in Q1 comes from pure technology services. We have 4 lines of businesses. First line is mechanical engineering, second is embedded systems, third is digital, and fourth is IT. We provide all 4 services in the overall digital transformation suite to our customers in 3 primary markets, which is North America, Europe, and in India. Today, our team has grown to end of the Q1 quarter. Our total headcount, which is full-time employees, was 2,121, with majority of them being based in India and less than 5%, which is today in Europe and US. We believe that the number post-COVID, once the travel restrictions will pick up, will increase much faster as anticipated with the pipeline or the demand that we are seeing from our clients. In terms of geographical locations, I continue to be based in Bombay at the head office at Worli. Our core engineering centers are in Pune, Chennai, and now lately in Bangalore. While we speak, we have just launched our operations in Noida, and by end of the quarter, which is end of Q2, we will be in Hyderabad as well. Outside India, our US head office is in Chicago, and we have 2 offices, one in Cleveland, Ohio, and the third one in Troy, Michigan, and 3 in Europe, one in London, in Amsterdam, and in Frankfurt. We have 4 verticals that we focus on. Our 2 fastest growing and verticals that we've invested very heavily, where we have majority of our revenues coming from, is the transportation and mobility vertical, where we focus on the automotive and the rail transportation segments. So we are not in the aerospace business. And on the second side, we are focused on the industrial equipment and the heavy machinery, which is off-highway vehicles, off-highway equipment, agricultural equipment, construction equipment, mining equipment across the world. We only work directly with the end customer, so there are no intermediaries, there are nobody in between, and the sales cycle used to be very, very long. And one of the biggest strengths of the company today is we have taken the last 5 years to build up the entire credibility with all these customers at various pilot projects, not only in India, but offshore in India, but also in the respective countries where they operate. And over the last 6 years, we've had a consistent track record of paying dividend, and we could also increase our dividend by 100% last year to 3 rupees per share. And we believe we are in a strong financial position today, being debt-free, to continue with that going forward. In terms of the quarter, again, a big congratulations. I think some of you guys might have been in my earlier call. It was actually just literally a few weeks back when we announced a private equity investment from Convergent Finance into Onward Technologies. So we discussed a lot of the points of that back then, but we ended up closing the numbers much better because a lot of things came our way by end of June. But net, we delivered 24% year-on-year revenue growth, which is about 4% more than what we had internally budgeted. We continue to hire extensively across all our offices and strengthen all our departments, digital and embedded being the primary focus areas, which are extremely high growth for us in our existing clientele. All three geographies we are strengthening as we speak. So we're investing much faster for the future than the present. So again, the big focus being on top line growth post the COVID era, which we are hoping in 2022 we'll get back to normal. And we are gearing up also and investing in two new verticals, which we discussed last time. One is the healthcare and pharma industry, and second is the high-tech industry. In all of these areas, all the four verticals has been very exciting. We are moving away from small projects and gigs that we were doing before, which is on the fixed price side, to time and material and long-term contracts. And we have won multiple contracts recently, which are multi-year engagements with some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in the world. So it's a very exciting time for us right now. It's given us a very strong visibility for the future. And it's simply now down to execution while we all continue to work remotely. Now I hand over a call to our CFO, Mr. Devanand Ramadasamy, to give you the financial highlights. Over to you, Dev.
Thank you, Jigar, and good afternoon, everyone who's joined this call. And thank you, Apurva from the PhillipCapital, who made this happen and arranged this joint call with us. Let me take you through the financial insights of this quarter at consolidated basis. I start with the financial remarks is that this quarter is one of the set path for the future growth, and our total income from 68 crore of the previous year, quarter 4, we reached to 85 crore, which includes the operation income from 66 crore to 69 crores. Our full year PBT of the last year was 9.8 crore, which current year quarter is PBT has reached to the 11 crores. Similarly, the eventually set effect of that, my PAT of the last year, full year was 7.33, which we stood in the current quarter is 9.8 crores. Resultant impact on the my EPS is from the 4.52 to the 6.03 this quarter. My cash balance is very healthy, and last year, March 21, was 29 crore. Today, we are sitting on the 55, plus there are certain amount which in the form of equity or investment from our partner yet to come. And we believe at the end of the year, it will be more than 100 crores on that. And we have the loan liability showing in the borrowings in the last year, which currently is the zero only. We are on the good track on the double-digit growth year-on-year basis in terms of EBITDA or in terms of top-line growth. There are few of the one-off items which we taken care of in this current quarter. Therefore, our EBITDA looks like a lower. However, it is very much under control to set path of the double-digit growth on that. These are the few items which I would like to share with you. Now, I request Vignesh Kumar to take you through some key operational highlights for the quarter and future growth outlook. Over to you, Vignesh.
Thanks, Devanandji. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to speak to all of you. From art to part, concept to prototype, we help customers develop products faster, better, cost effectively, especially in the digital space. We work with several global OEMs, the transportation and mobility, off-highway equipments, healthcare, and high-tech segment. Today, I'm going to share 3 successful wins in the recent past. One with world's largest off-highway equipment manufacturer. We already have a 300-plus team supporting this customer in a complete product life cycle, and especially in the digital space, which is a new area where more and more companies organizations are investing. We are supporting them in the space of IoT, machine learning, and data analytics. We recently got selected as their strategic partner for long-term engagement with this customer. we also have one significant order from a leading German auto OEM, and this contract is to build a team of 150 digital professionals as soon as possible. The third story I wanted to share with you is in a different industry. A global lighting OEM has decided to partner with Onward, a multi-year deal for a dedicated offshore center for mechanical, digital, and embedded domain-based skills. This offshore center is going to be set up in Pune, and at the earliest, we will have a 40-member team working for this customer. So this is a rainy season, and all salespeople love when there is a rain of orders. And I can assure you that there is a rain of orders in Onward's order book. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to speak to all of you. And over to Jigar, if you want to give some concluding remarks.
Thank you, Dev and Vignesh. Again, we are open for Q&A now.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Anyone who would like to ask a question, please press star and 1 at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Mayank Babla from Dalal & Broacha. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah. Yes. So thank you for taking my question. And my question is around the EBITDA margins, operating margins. So what extent volatility in these EBITDA margins? So I'm just looking at the historical financial statements where EBITDA margins are 11% and 8% and then 12% in FY19 and 3.3% in FY18. And in this quarter, suddenly the EBITDA is negative. So could you shed some light on that and give us a sustainable level of margins that we can record going ahead? Thank you.
Sure. This is Jigar Mehta here. Let me give it a shot, and then I'll have Dave come in as well to give you more breakups. So again, please keep in mind a couple of things. Onward, as a historical company, was focused on the Indian domestic market, right? India customers were the biggest focus areas. Over the last year, we are investing very heavily in Europe and US. Right? So the EBITDA margins goes ups and down based on the various investments we are doing. Even while we speak, we plan to hire at least 100 odd people more in Europe and US. So substantial outflow, and for us, people are our biggest assets, so all the money goes in salaries. So that's predominantly what it is. On the operating level, in terms of customer deals that we take, they are as good as any other company out there. From both Indian and global perspective, because obviously we work with some of the biggest brands in the world where the rate card is the same for most companies. So from that perspective, there is no difference. It's more about we investing much heavily. In Q1 per se, we've taken a conservative view, and hence we are the numbers show low. They can talk about some of the one-time entries we're taking, which we believe also will be beneficial for us as we keep going forward. Dave, over to you.
Yeah. So I just would like to answer you in a little bit different way on that. You know that we are the service-oriented company, and our biggest strength is that our employees on that. So this is always company has to take a call in the chicken and egg story kind of thing. So whether investment make first or we will take the revenue first on that. So company has taken conscious call to investment in the employees and expand the capabilities and capabilities on that. So what we did during the last few quarters, the company has attract a lot of best talented of the industry in the organizations, and because of that, our employee cost is continuously increasing. as well as we are expanding our footprint next to our clients. So all investment made to the client-centric, and eventually will give the results in coming quarters as well. And from the delivery side, pre-sales or sales side, everywhere we are bringing the expert of the industry. We are creating the offices and labs. Everything is required for that to deliver the services. We are making an investment. So this is one of the key reasons where our EBITDA movement is there. And you know that there are certain aspects where some investment made on some commitment basis on the client and the government authorities, and something is that which has the timing effect on that. So because of that, investment made in the one quarter, and where is the benefits and of that is coming in the next quarters. So therefore, you will see some volatility. However, we are sure that we could deliver double-digit EBITDA in coming quarters on that. Hope I clarified your query.
Yes, you did. Thank you. And sir, one more thing. So between standalone and consolidated, around 19 crores revenue differences. So could you explain, is there so this is relating to the inorganic contribution or?
No, it's the organic. So standalone means we have the Indian company. Company has a subsidiary in Germany and USA as well. So their contribution part of as a consolidated results.
Oh.
And US is one of the significant contributor on this.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for the clarification. Good luck for the rest of the day.
Welcome.
Thank you. Anyone who would like to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Abhishek Jain from Arihant Capital. Please go ahead.
So thank you for taking my question. Sir, I want to understand how we see ourselves in next 2-3 years, because I just started looking at the company and what kind of work, which segment we are doing right now in automobile and mobility. I just gone through the website thing. So if you can throw some light on which are our key focus areas and how exactly you see which are the clients in Europe. You are talking about Europe and other stuff, other areas. So which are the clients you are working on? So if you can throw some light on that. Thank you.
Abhishek, hi. This is Jigar Mehta here again. So how do we see us? I think there are multiple questions, and I'll try to answer a bit more just to break it down, put some structure in it. So you said, how do we see ourselves going forward? Abhishek, the way we have positioned ourselves right now is we are aiming to grow double-digit both on the top line and bottom line year on year for the next few years. Based on the customers that we have already won and the amazing pipeline which is getting built up every day, we believe we will be able to easily sustain that, and hopefully outperform the industry as well as we keep building up the base. In terms of the second question about what kind of services we provide, again, so Abhishek, we are a young company, right? We are a company which has moved away from a lot of old businesses to the latest, to the ER&D business over the last several years, and investing very heavily over the last few years in particular. Our goal and our vision is to be an extended arm of our clients' R&D department. So once we start working with a manufacturing company, let's say in the transportation or in the automotive space, we provide all the services to the customer in that particular area, right? So whether it's mechanical engineering, whether it's autonomous driving, whether it's telematics, whether it's infotainment, our teams are doing some amazing work for a customer in UK, for a luxury car maker, designing entire interiors, trims, bumper. So we do everything, as Vignesh mentioned at the start of the presentation, art to part. So actually we don't do any manufacturing, but just in the prototype stage.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dhiral Shah from Phillip Capital.
Thanks for the opportunity. So what is our order book growth in the current quarter?
Hi, Dave, what is that?
Yeah. So order book is, we are getting very, very attractive order book, and you know that we follow the strategic customer account mechanism. So our strategic customer growth are in the double digits. I can't give the exact number percentage, but we have the order books which are very healthy. and which eventually converted into the double-digit growth on that. So we have the healthy growth pipeline on that.
Okay. And so with this fundraising plan of almost 70 crore, so where are we going to utilize this fund?
We have the, Jigar, you wanted to tell or should? Okay.
No,
So there are,
please give it a shot.
yeah. So we have the two aspects which we wanted to that. One is organic and second is inorganic. Organic in the sense is that we will expand investment into the develop our capabilities, in-house capabilities, which includes the hiring the top talented people, strengthening the delivery team, setting up the exclusively labs for the who work for the emerging technologies. And inorganic, we are looking for the right size and the right company on the way which comes suits us and help us to scale up very fast. So these are the two key parameters where we are looking for the utilization of the funds.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. That's it from my side.
Thank you. Anyone who would like to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of VP Rajesh from Banyan Capital. Please go ahead.
Actually, so Manish, give a little more color on the 3 deals you described in terms of the competitors you won against, and if you can give a little more detail on the type of the amount of the contract, if you will, and the type of work that you'll be doing for them. That will be helpful.
So, you have asked me a lot of 3 questions. Most of them are confidential information. We cannot share much about that, but I can just assure you, rather than the traditional mechanical engineering services place where we were very active, almost all the deals that we have won are in the latest technology area, that is IoT, digital twin, machine learning, and embedded systems. These are the areas where our expansions have happened, and these are the areas where also we are getting more and more requirements from customers in Europe, UK, and US. Competitors are all companies similar to us who operate in this space. Every customer has a set of partners like Onward supporting them. So when the RFQs are floated by the customer, we have to compete with them and show that we are technically as capable and confident to deliver those projects. Over several years, we have built that confidence with these customers, and they are introducing us to newer departments, newer areas to allow us to serve them much better. That's why when I said the complete product life cycle, we are trying to help the customer in every aspect of product development when they are trying to launch new products. I hope I could answer the questions. I cannot name the order values here as well as the name of competitors in this call.
No problem. And the other question is, should we assume that all the 3 customers are the strategic ones?
I could not hear your question clearly. Can you again repeat, please?
Yeah, I'm asking that the customers.
Sorry to interrupt you. Mr. Rajan, your voice is breaking, sir. May I request you to please check?
Is it better now?
Yes.
At the moment, it is. If you can move to a better reception area, we can hear you better. Thank you, sir.
So my follow-up question, Vignesh, was that all these 3 customers, are they what we define as strategic customers?
Yes. So actually, last few years, we have been working in a very systematic manner to build a set of strategic accounts in all the key geographies we are operating out of. Mm-hmm. And the dream is to convert all these strategic accounts, each of these strategic accounts to 10 million account, each account. The account has potential to deliver much bigger revenues, but we have kept a target of 10 million per account. And we are on the right track to reach these accounts. There are close to 20 such accounts, which currently we treat as strategic accounts across the globe.
Perfect. And Dave, a couple of questions on the numbers side. You said you will have 100 crore kind of balance by the end of the year. So does that guidance include the income tax refund that you are expecting, which I think is around 30-40 crores?
No, as on, I have not included that one income tax refunds on this one.
Okay, but you are expecting that to come through this year, right? Or
yeah, we are
mistaken.
expecting, but what number which I stated in the beginning of the call, which I have not considered on that. Reason being the amount collected from the government can be dragged from the quarter on quarter. You know that how the governments are functioning on that.
Sure.
So
Right.
that's the confidence level we have, but you know the government functionary works on his own sweet time, so therefore we have not considered. If it comes in that, it will be always been added on top of the number on that.
Okay, and the funding of 70 crores, have you assumed that entirely in that 100 crore, or only the first portion of that?
Yes. No, we assume that entire funds will come through in this financial year.
Understood. And on the EBITDA margin, when you give a guidance of double digit, so should we expect that each quarter, like this year pro forma basis, it's around 4.4%. So each quarter you expect it to trend up. That's what we should we expect that?
Sir, it is a little bit too early to give the right guidance on that, but we have the proper plan and monitor system where we tracked our year-on-year growth on that. And at this point of time, I can give the sign to you that definitely is better than the previous year, number one. Number two, we are aiming for to the reach from the single digit to double digit. How and how much it will be there, definitely time will tell. But we, as per our current tracking system, we are on the same path on the double digit growth.
Got it. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you, Mr. Rajesh. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anurag Runwal from Moneybee Investment Advisors. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. So, sir, I basically wanted to understand. So, when we talk about ER&D, when we sort of see our peers, they have margins of upward 25%. So, I understand they are sort of more mature in this industry. So when we are sort of targeting 50% revenue from ER&D and 50% from digital, in FY25, would that be the time for us to see those kind of margins, or is it that we would be requiring more expertise in this area and it's going to take few years for us to reach those kind of levels? If you can throw some light on this.
Sure, I can take that. This is Jigar here. So again, let me clarify. So the service technology services industry, if you remove the top 5 companies, they all operate between 12% and 17% EBITDA margin. I don't believe I've seen companies at 25% unless they are owned or headquartered outside from Europe or US. From pure play Indian technology services companies, those are the average number. Our goal is starting this year, as I said, we believe we will be in double digit in terms of EBITDA. I think last year we were not there, and this year we will be. A substantial portion of that will be carried forward going in. Like we believe we'll be in double digit going forward, and yes, in 2000, couple of years from now, we will be as good as anybody else because we will not be continuously investing at a very, very high pace. Our global foundation and structure will be ready.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shweta Jain from ANS Wealth. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you for giving this opportunity to me. So I have a couple of questions. So the first question is, if I look at the presentation, in one of the slides, we've put our target for FY25 from the segment digital transformation to 50% from current 2%. And, we've shown that going forward, we just have 2 segments, right? The ICS is 26% currently, but in 2025, it would be just the digital transformation and ER&D. So I want to understand, how would this transformation happen in the sense, from ITS, the current customers we are aiming to migrate them on the digital transformation side, or it's a totally new set of customers that we would be looking out to, acquiring?
Hi, this is Jigar here. Let me give it a shot. So what we are saying in our perspective is, so majority of our growth and revenues is coming from our existing clients, right? So the whole shift towards digital will come from our existing clients and existing contracts.
Okay.
Right? If you see the notes from our last earnings presentation, and including the presentation that we had with the Convergent Finance team, we clarified that all the old businesses that Onward had to exit, we've already exited, right? So now the entire business today will continue and will grow. Right? So all our customers are in a growth phase, and we believe all of them will add value towards our goal of double-digit growth, both top line and bottom line. Now, all the new deals, Shweta, that Onward is participating in, or even the customer is spending on, is 100% only digital.
Okay.
Right? So there is no old school IT deals anymore. We are concerned from our customers.
Right.
All the additional revenue that we are adding on the growth side will either be on the engineering side or will be on the digital side. So we've just balanced it out, and we believe we'll be there.
Okay. Great. Thanks. That helps a lot. So my second question is, if you could throw some light on our hiring plans, because if I'm not mistaken, I heard, I think you were mentioning we are going to hire aggressively in US and Europe, right? So if you could just throw some sense around it as to, what kind of hiring we plan there in terms of numbers and, something around that, sir.
Sure, absolutely. So let me clarify some points. So let's say we end of June, we are at 2,121 employees, full-time employees, with majority of being based in India. Our traditional model, all our customers are headquartered in Europe and US. So our customers expect us to be present in those countries, not just on the offshore play.
Right.
Because of the last 18 months, because of COVID and travel restrictions, we've been supporting them remotely from India. Moment that opens up, a large portion of that will move on site or in the respective territory where our customers are headquartered, whether it's Germany, Netherlands, London. Like UK has opened up now, so we have a lot of people traveling in the next few weeks and months. Germany's opening up, so a lot of people are traveling. A lot of our key senior people on the delivery side will move to Germany. So that whole model will start developing for us. Now on the new hiring side, and I said also, so Onward outside India, we are a bit different kind of we're exactly opposite in some of the larger peers that we have. The larger peers built up the beautiful base outside India and then entered the India market. Onward is exactly opposite, where we built up our base in the India market and now entering Europe and US. So we had a much harder sell in the last few years, which for now we're getting successful, and you can see in our numbers that's how we could deliver EPS of 6. We are now hiring. We have won the anchor clients, and now we are hiring account managers, engagement managers, delivery managers on the digital and all the 4 revenue streams that we spoke about in those markets, supporting the customer.
Okay.
Right? So a simple goal that internally we track between me, Vignesh, and Pratesh. Pratesh is our other executive vice president based in Chicago, is minimum 100 people outside India on the leadership, sales, and delivery side, non-billable in the next few quarters. I think we're at about 20, 23 right now as of today.
Okay. So 100 people is what we are looking to hire.
Minimum. And that's why we did the fundraise. That's why we want to go after aggressive push, supporting our existing customers.
Okay.
Please keep in mind, we have no presence in those markets. So we are literally building grounds up and trying to catch up on a lot of the stuff.
Understood. And so just a few numbers that I wanted to clarify. I believe the current cash that was mentioned in the commentary as on 30th June is 55 crores on our books?
Correct.
Okay. And so just last question, if I can squeeze in. Any further one-offs are we expecting both on the income or the expense side in the coming quarters, like next 2-3 quarters?
Shweta, I hope there's one-offs every day.
On the income side.
No, that's a serious answer also. But again, let me clarify this one-off part, right? And I think we don't do a good job on that part. When we say this one-off so-called that we have booked in Q1, it's not actually a one-off. Because while the revenue is showing in other income, our entire expenses was shown in normal operating expenses last year. Right? So it's not a profit that we have made by that. The 15 odd crores that we are seeing as a one-off other income in the other income, which takes our revenue to 85 crores, the same 15 crores already spent last year in payroll, which went in normal expenses. So if you add that in my last year's numbers, my EBITDA would look as good as anybody in the region or in the market.
Understood.
Right? So it's not a one-off when me and Dave look at it, and my leadership team, we don't look at it as a one-off, neither does my board. But yes, from accounting perspective, I think it comes off as a one-off.
Right.
So similar like this, our teams are, as I said, we are a young team, and everybody guys, we have suffered a lot, as I said, in the COVID. So anything that we see which is benefit from the various governments or the countries, including some customers where we see schemes which are value addition to our onward balance sheet or for our cash flows, we are very aggressively spending time on it so we can take full advantage and support of that.
Right. Okay. Got it.
I hope I clarified.
Yes. Thank you so much and all the best.
Absolutely.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Atul Mehra, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, just wanted to know that the guidance that you've been giving since the time Harsha came on board, you've been saying you'll grow in double digit, but it's a very generic statement. Can you please give a little more precise one? Because large companies are going at 15%, so should we expect a company like Onward who to grow at 20% plus? And also, because the environment is so strong right now, and also with the employee strength of 2,000 plus employees, shouldn't the revenue be northwards of 800 crores? Or am I missing something? Because normally companies with this kind of employee strength do that kind of revenue. Or should we expect it to touch 500 to 600 crores soon?
Hi, this is Jigar here. Not sure if I understood the question. It's very broad-based. So let me clarify some stuff. The double-digit growth in top line, we've been saying that for the last 1 year. Harsha and Convergent team joined us only last month, right? And again, we're all trying to get to know each other, and it's been a phenomenal start to our partnership and our investment. And I'm sure in the next few years, it's not a short-term game for us; it's a long-term thing. They own substantial equity now in the company. So we will build a beautiful business going together. So that's the first part. In terms of double-digit growth, in terms of what we have mentioned is we will grow double-digit, which Onward has never done before. Again, when we give projections, we're not comparing ourselves with anybody out there. We're just talking about what we believe as a team we can do and which we feel confident of sharing with investors and analysts like yourselves. So, we can deliver on our commitment. So we are comfortable delivering double-digit both in terms of top line and bottom line. Once the engine starts working and we are out of this COVID era, working remotely, we do believe we will be ready, and that's where Convergent team came in as well, along with our board, that we should start beating the normal industry average growth rate. And the last point in terms of clarification on headcount, I think you're absolutely right. If Onward was a pure play export revenue or export services company, then our revenue would be northwards of $100 million today. But as I said, and I clarified earlier, we were an Indian company focused on the Indian market, where even today 90% or 95% plus of our staff is based. So most of our revenue is in rupees and now increasing in dollar and euro, which is where we've been investing for the last few years. So once that engine picks up, that the bill rate per person and all those statistics will change for us as well. And hopefully it will be as good as anybody out there in the industry.
All right. Thank you.
I hope I clarified. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sriram Rajan, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Jigar and team, many congratulations. Wonderful performance, very encouraging and super energizing. And great. Most of the questions that I intend to ask have been covered already. And in fact, the last question kind of leads to the question I was wanting to ask. Firstly, operator, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
I'm audible? Okay, sure, thanks.
Audible.
Yeah, sure. So the question to the Onward team is that, like the previous investor just asked, saying the revenue per employee for Onward is in the ballpark of 11 to 12 lakhs per annum revenue generated, which is revenue by number of employees, which is perhaps less than 50% of some of the other industry peers, with much larger peers, and perhaps they had the advantage of starting in US and moving back to India. The question is there any plan in terms of launching any platforms or products to replicate and break the need of having to put people to grow revenue? Is there some idea in that direction for ER&D? And the connected question is, following that is, ER&D is about 170 crores for last year, and it should touch about 250 crores by 25, assuming 10% growth, perhaps we'll do even more. At which point digital will also be about 250. Are there any specific similar product approach or a platform approach to grow the digital business, make it replicable and scalable very fast for your clients? Because your revenue from top clients is going to shift about 70%. So my questions are around the area of platforms. Any focus in that direction from Onward? Thank you.
Hi, this is Jigar here. Again, great questions. Just to keep things simple for this call, as of today, in the amazing opportunity that we have in front of us, we believe we will continue to be a pure play technology services company, exactly as we are right now, with some of the engagements that we have signed with our customers, because these are all multi-year engagements. So no plans today to get into the platform and product side. But I do believe once we cross the first threshold, a first milestone of $100 million of revenue, which we believe will happen soon, that's definitely a very attractive way forward.
Thank you, Jigar. I think wish you the very best for Q2 and the rest of the year, and to your entire team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vineet Jain, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Congratulations to the whole team. Great numbers. And one question which I have is, could we see the sustainability on the quarter-on-quarter basis as well, given we have lined up new order book? Most of them would have started, obviously, but we don't know when it would conclude. So what is the way you keep billing? Because that is what would add to the top line. So one question on that.
Sure. Dave, do you want to take that?
Yeah. So, Vineet, as we mentioned that we sequential quarter and the year-on-year growth we are predicting, and we settle our base that it will grow. So to increase our growth account, we find out that there are a couple of accounts where the most of our order book is very stringent, and we are seeing the good traction. And because of the COVID, most of the clients are investing heavily in India, especially the offshore business. So basis on the green shoot which we are seeing in the quarter one and last year the quarter four, we are very positive this growth momentum will continue in coming quarters.
Okay.
Hope
One
I
more
clarified.
question I had. Yes, sure. One more question I had on the differentiating ways, like how we can compare with the peers, because they already have a good platform. They have their own IPs. So what are we trying to do in that space?
Your question is partly correct. The reason being the conventional mode of the business, like the IT business or engineering business, which predominantly the old technology, but the new emerging technology, most of the players are at par, like digital twin, which Vignesh has talked about. That this is a very new and very latest technology where the most of the companies are equally. So we are on the same race. And just to tell you that OEM which we are working with, that we are reached that level, we won the confidence level of the organization, and any tender or RFQ comes to the share with amongst the all top player along with us. So we are equally caliber to deliver on the emerging technology. So this is the USP which we have, or we have trust which we have gained over a period, and we are very confident that we can equally deliver like Biggies are able to deliver on that.
Yeah, because I see the opportunity size is very huge.
Yes. So since opportunity size are very huge, so everybody will have the equal share to grab this. So and the India is one of the base for the world, especially in IT and engineering. So everybody will get the pie of their business. So we are confident that we will grab this opportunity in coming quarters.
Yeah, fair enough. That answers my question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone who would like to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Viral Bhansali, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the opportunity. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, my question is to Mr. Jigar. Well, there is a very similar company to yours in the space, which is Axis Cadis, which is apart from the offerings that you have, like the recent offerings of IoT and the digital and the heavy engineering and the automotive, they are also into aerospace. So how does Onward compare with Axis Cadis?
Viral, hi, this is Jigar. So, we obviously know about this company, but again, please keep in mind, me and my team are structured a bit differently. We don't compare or compete with any of these companies. Sometimes we don't even know what they are doing. Because our only single-minded goal for this team that I have built is to beat the previous quarter, right? I just want to clarify first part. On the industry vertical part that you mentioned about Axis Cadis, again, they do a lot of different stuff. They are in defense, they are in aerospace. So we are not in any of those segments. We are a pure play technology services company focused on the engineering, research and development space. 2 verticals, transportation and mobility, and industrial automation, industrial equipment and heavy machinery. So we are not in aerospace, we're not in defense, we're not in manufacturing, we're not getting into offsets, neither are we getting into JVs or any of those things.
Yeah. My question basically, Jigar, is I was going through the detailed shareholding of Axis Cadis and I found some shares owned by Onward. So just a hypothetical question that came to my mind, that this could be a marriage of equals. Are we thinking on those lines?
Haven't thought about it, but again, very, very open to every possibility. If you guys think it adds value to Onward, I'm sure there is some opportunity there.
Certainly, because it will add a few more verticals to Onward's offerings as well, and also get very capable. Because Axis Cadis basically struggles on the management front, whereas Onward has got one of the best managements. Of course, who else can drive a company better than a NASSCOM founder, right? So I was just thinking on those lines.
Thanks for your positivity. I'm sure my team will be pleased to hear that we can run a company double our size.
No, it will be a merger kind of, not an acquisition maybe. I was just thinking because I was just going through the detailed shareholding pattern on Axis Cadis and I saw Onward holding in it. So that's why.
Thank you for the thoughts.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sriram Rajan, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. The question which I should have asked in the previous occasion itself was regards the digital transformation, since you're dealing with all the big players in the industrial machinery space and auto. Many of them come with the legacy debt and technology debt of the past. Would you have plans to modernize them, legacy app modernization, mainframe migrations? Is that part of the digital transformation solutions you're pitching in? Thank you.
Vignesh, do you want to take that?
Yeah. So every customer, every strategic customer of ours is reinventing themselves and trying to do things better, correct? And today, digital transformation is not a luxury, it's a necessity or it's a must for every company. Now, many of these companies have a lot of legacy systems which are not even talking to each other. And that's a great opportunity for companies like Onward because customer needs somebody to help them move from these legacy systems to newer systems, or also at least if they want to continue with some of those legacy systems, ensure that they talk to each other and they are able to get extract information in a single digital dashboard. So Onward is helping these customers in those projects, and that is where a lot of revenue opportunities are there for us going forward.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question for today. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Apurva Shah for closing comments.
Yeah. Before we close, I would request you to throw some light on how does the revenue visibility is improving. Probably Vignesh has mentioned in his opening remark that we have identified 20 odd accounts where we can reach up to $20 million size in maybe near future. So where are we, and when can we see few accounts reaching that $10 million number per se, maybe FY23, 24? Any thoughts? That will be really useful for all the participants.
Sure, Apurva. So again, let me summarize again, guys. Thank you so much for joining today. Hope we could clarify a lot of the points. And again, if you have additional questions, please feel free to reach out to my team, especially our IR partners, Valoron team. Coming back to the point about what Apurva mentioned, in terms of revenue-wise and visibility, 20 is just a number. Vignesh here as an example. The number is actually a bit higher than that now. And the whole direction and all our hiring is channelized towards that. So, for example, we have 7 odd clients last year which have generated more than $1 million, and some are much more than that. This year, we believe that number will be in double digits, so we will cross 10. I think we'll be close to 11 or 12. And next year's run rate, which is already on order booking-wise, I think we'll be close to 17 or 18. Right, so we have good visibility. Now it's all about execution. The reason we are not sharing very, very confidently today is predominantly because of this remote environment. Because a lot of it needs a lot of our people to travel to global locations, which we are not able to do right now. So from that perspective, we do believe that will happen at a very, very fast pace. And, once things open up and we are through with a couple of months of travel, I think I can give you much more confidently how soon we can get there. As an organization, how we are structured is coming back on the revenue growth and revenue focus. Our first milestone as a team is $100 million. Most of the people, majority of the people at the leadership level who've been hired come with that level of experience already. So they've been there, done that in other organizations in their careers. So here, now it's all about execution. What is unknown to them and to me, again, the whole COVID and the remote side of working. So we all are learning to adapt and grow from there. Q1 was a success, much better than we expected. And I believe going forward, you will see a lot more depth and a lot more detail from us, from especially the 2 industry verticals and our large clients. And the last point, how soon do we believe at least the first client will contribute 10 million? I think it can be as early as next year.
Great to hear that, Jigar. So all the very best to you and your entire Onward team, and wish you best of luck for the future. Thank you very much for your valuable time and for all the logged in participants. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you. On behalf of PhillipCapital India Private Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.